Hey, what's up? Doug Cunnington here. I'm going to talk about the first Amazon affiliate niche site that I created. And this was back in 2013. It made about $10,000 in 6 months. And I was very happy with that, as you can imagine. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had only learned about niche sites and internet marketing in general, like earlier that year. So I'll sort of talk you through what I did at a high level. I can refer you to some other videos and stuff like that, but in general, I was just learning all about it. So this was kind of my start. And once I figured out that, Amazon affiliate niche sites were a worthwhile thing and, pretty interesting, I totally geeked out on it and dove head first. Now, the interesting thing that I can tell you is this didn't turn out to be a happy story at the end. It's awesome what happened, but, the the thing is, this site got penalized, and I'll tell you all about that part too, and it's part of the reason, if you've caught a couple of these videos before, you'll know, and you realize that I don't do, gray hat link building anymore because of the risk involved. So I know it can work, and I know some of my friends and peers use PBNs or private blog networks, and it scares the crap out of me because it's like the worst feeling in the world. I'll tell you about that too. I see we have some people on, and if you're watching the replay, give me a shout in the comments. Just let me know that you do watch the replays so that I, will continue to either do these style of live videos where I have some interaction with the live folks like Arun. We have Kent on, Francis, and Success Roller Coaster. Thanks, folks, for coming on live. And if you are on live, give a thumbs up if you are, looking forward to hearing the story. So let's get into it. Basically, in early 2013, I was sort of like looking for a new hobby, I guess. So I was really into beer brewing. I'm still into beer brewing, but not as aggressively as I was before. And essentially, I was listening to podcasts all the time, and I was obsessed with beer brewing podcasts. So eventually, I got burned out. Right, I was doing so much brewing, so much drinking. I wasn't worn out with the drinking part, of course. This is another story for another day, but I was looking for a new podcast, flipping through my app. I was walking my dog at the time, Brody, in Dunwoody, Georgia. That's where we live, so kind of a suburb of Atlanta. And I was just kind of, walking through a park, looking for something to listen to, and then I found Smart Passive Income. Didn't know what it was. I just saw like Pat Flynn's face, on the thumbnail there, and I was like, oh, you know what? It looks pretty popular, so I'll download it. So I checked out like, a couple of the episodes, and I was like, this is awesome. It sounded like a scam, but I was like, this dude's saying, people make money online. He's talking about like niche sites and stuff. And I didn't know what any of this stuff was. I actually had trouble like hearing a couple things. I remember he kept saying like um, PPC or like pay per click, right? Pay per click. And I thought he was saying like paper clip. And I'm like, what the hell is a paper clip? That makes no sense. Anyway, as I get obsessed with things, I listen to probably like 50 episodes in, I don't know, a week or two. I mean, I was listening at faster speed and really got through a lot of material, got to know, Pat's personality as people do with, podcasts and stuff. And it was super cool. So I started, hearing him say like, take action, you got to take action. So within like 5 weeks or so, I bought my first hosting package with Bluehost. I probably watched, Pat's video and saw him like go through the process to set up hosting. So I had WordPress set up. I was using, a couple themes. I put in plugins. I've sort of like a, slightly development background. So I was like editing some PHP code, even though I didn't know what I was doing, but I was in there like changing things. All that stuff broke, by the way. The the thing is, I ended up like failing with, I don't know, like the first 4 sites. I'm just going to give a shout out with some of the new folks that just joined up. We got Charles on, we got Kirill, Steven, and Francis's first chat. So awesome. Hopefully there will be no trolls today. We have some of my good people like Arun on here helping out. We have Ravi, we got Lance, we have Jay. Thanks guys for joining up. And Francis is out in Orlando. Cool. So again, just a quick reminder, if you find this interesting or helpful, please hit the thumbs up. If you're watching the replay, let me know you're catching the replay. I'm going to try and like make these so that they are good enough for people watching replays too. So we'll see how that goes. As it happens, right? The first several sites were terrible. A quick tip: just start with one site. Like if you're getting started and you haven't started making money online, just get started with one site. I know you will think I have great ideas for 4 or 5 other domains, and you'll buy those domains and then they'll sit there. You'll like publish 1 or 2 posts and then you'll just get behind. The problem is you make no progress in any of them, like not at all. You'll make like an inch of progress in many directions, which is pretty much useless. You may as well not do anything, or you could just buy one site, focus on that one. Do that. Buy one site, focus on that. So my my first few sites were terrible. I ended up like not working on like 80% of them, and eventually I got this one site to start getting traffic. Right, it was getting like 200-300 visitors a day. I was doing these different link building techniques. I remember reading like the the backlinking strategy that works by Pat Flynn, but it was written in like 2011, maybe updated in 2012, and I was reading it in like 2013-ish. So it was out of date. And those really got me started on like bad techniques. And here's the thing people don't realize, but if you go back and read Pat Flynn's old blog post and you listen to his early podcast episodes, he was a gray hat guy. Like he used link pyramids, link wheels. I'm not sure if he's deleted those posts or if he leaves them up for archival purposes, but like he did all the bad stuff that people really talk down on now, and Google doesn't like it. But that was the way it worked back then. Like that was acceptable practice. So just remember, like Pat Flynn started building these sites just like we did, and gray hat folks do currently. So anyway, I started getting traffic on the site, but the problem was my keyword research was flawed. Another reason to just build one site at a time when you're first starting out, so that you can like learn the ropes and figure out what to do. The worst thing you could do is like build 5 sites, make the same mistake 5 times over again, have to fix it each time, versus focus on one site, make a mistake, don't do it the next time, and you keep getting better. So I realized that I couldn't make money on that site, even though I was getting a couple hundred visitors a day, because the keyword research was flawed. There was no like route to sell. It wasn't a commercial type keyword. It wasn't really monetizable via AdSense either. So I was just with a site that got traffic that I couldn't really monetize. Now, if I got like 1,000 visitors a day or 2,000 visitors a day, perhaps at that point I could, use AdSense, use different ad strategies. But at the point that I had, I didn't have those skills to get that much of get that much traffic. So fast forward to July, and this is the good part, when I actually like purchased the site, and I see we got a bunch of people that just joined up. So thanks, appreciate that. And let me know if you are on here for the first time, just interested in that. So my first site that was actually successful was an Amazon affiliate site. I remember I bought the domain July 14th, 2013. I was going along with the case study and niche site project that Spencer Hawes was running at Niche Pursuits. Does anyone remember that in the chat? Or you could comment below if you got started around that time too. It's just interesting. There's a lot of people that kind of got their start in that time period. So anybody remember that niche site project like 1.0 in 2013? And I I was like, I'm going to do this too. Super interesting. It actually coincided with Pat Flynn's project, the Niche Site Duel, which was like a community, sort of project that he put together. There's a forum, it's still out there actually, but I got my start and I was like, okay, everything's kind of coming together. I screwed up on my first site with keyword research. I'm going to do it right this time. So I bought the domain in July, started putting content on it almost immediately. And by I think the end of July, I was getting like some traffic. And then August, I made $20. I meant to look this up before we got started, but kind of got behind. So this could be off just a tad, but in August, I made $20. And I was like, hey, it works, right? Like people are going to the site, they're buying something on Amazon. So it was fantastic. So I kept doing more of what I was already doing. I was adding content. And I see Abdullah says getting quality content is the main problem for you. I wrote all the original content on all the sites, right? I didn't have a budget to invest. Honestly, I could have invested, right? I could have reallocated some money that I was putting towards homebrewing beer and like bought content, but I was sort of scared to hire people, number one. I probably thought, hey, getting quality content is hard. And I didn't understand how to hire people or work with a content service or something. And then the other part is I wasn't confident that like, it wasn't just setting money on fire, right? As you're just getting started, I know a lot of people are probably in this position. Like you hear the stories and you think that can't be real. You know what? I don't want to put real money into it, but I'll spend some time writing the content. So that's what I did. I wrote the content. Fast forward to September. There was the second, month that the site was in play. So September, I think I made like $120. October was 500. November was like 2,800. And then here's the kicker, right? In December of 2013, the site made $6,452. I looked at that number the other day, so I just happened to remember it. So of course, if you do the math and add it up, 10K under 6 months. And I barely knew what I was doing. As I mentioned, the timeline is April. I learned about internet marketing and that it was a thing. By the end of April, I had my first site up. I did everything wrong. I tried to like do too many things at once. And I regrouped in the June timeframe thinking, hey, I should launch my own Amazon affiliate site. And then that worked, right? So if we think about this, I had like at least 2 sort of failed projects for niche sites before I even launched the first one. And I mentioned this. I want to emphasize the fact that, you launch your first site, it's a learning process, right? Like you are going to make mistakes. And the best thing you can do is make those mistakes and then not do them again. So reflect on those mistakes, figure out like what you like did wrong, what you can do better, and then make it better in the future. And see a couple questions coming in. We have Mike and Robbie. I'll answer your question in a moment. So that is sort of the story. And I'll just do a quick recap of the revenue as I remember it. So I launched the site in July, and the first month of revenue, or the first month that I made revenue, was August. All right. So August, I made $20. September, it was like 120. And then October, 500. November was about 2,800. And December, of course, the retail season is out of control, made $6,400. So that's how I made the 10K in 6 months. And I didn't know anything. Here's the saddest part of the story. The site was penalized in January. So if people are just joining, here's the thing. I was using these gray hat techniques because my mentors from afar, right? They weren't actually like mentors that talked to me personally, but like I was studying Pat Flynn and Smart Passive Income. And if you go back and you look at those blog posts from, 2010, 2012, like he was a gray hat guy. He was buying bad links from Fiverr. He was using link pyramids, link wheels, like all this sort of stuff that has a negative connotation these days. And, Pat Flynn is, white hat sort of, I'm not sure the right word to use, but like, he's a pretty straight shooter, right? He's not trying to get anyone in trouble. And it looks like we have a few trolls on. So I know Arun's on. If you could help me out, my friend. Yeah, you got it. And let's see, Lance, if you have the ability, Lance, do you want to be a moderator as well? And for the people on the replay, it's very exciting in the chat room. Sometimes we have trolls hop on, they say like really bad stuff. I wish they would like and comment on the video, to help the stats and everything, but we do what we can with what we have. So, and what you can do. So I'm going to make Lance, you're going to be a moderator here, and add moderator. Thank you, Lance. You're the man. And then what you can do, guys, is if you click on the person, the dot, dot, dot to the right, you have the ability to hide the user on the channel. So you have to hide the user on the channel. Don't put them in timeout. Don't remove them. We have a 0 to 1 strike scenario here. So just kick them out. All right. Cool. All right. So I'm going to answer some questions now and get to it. All right. Thanks everyone for the patience. And I think I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll just have a day where I invite trolls. I'll just say trolls welcome and just see what happens. Okay. Lance says, at what point do you start the second site? 30 posts, 50 posts, a certain number of backlinks and comments. So it depends, right? There are a couple trigger points. For me, it's mainly around the like the amount of revenue. And if you think the amount of revenue is maxed out, then you move on. So for me, and here, look at it this way. Each site that you have, each new site that you create or purchase, even if someone gave you a site, there's still admin tasks that you have to do for each site. You have to handle the hosting and sort of the infrastructure stuff. You have to think about content and backlinks. And for me, through experience of launching multiple sites at different times and having multiple sites in play, and then, when I sell the site or stop, working on it, it feels good. So for me, I like to have fewer sites that I put more effort into. Now, other people are more interested in building a portfolio of sites, at least at the beginning. And I challenge you to go and check with them after they actually do build a portfolio of sites. And oftentimes you'll find that either they don't have the skills or desire to build a team that's required to run a portfolio of sites, or they just get like burnt out. So as I do less stuff, I feel happier and better. so my answer to you is you have to look at your own trigger points, but most of the time, Lance, you're better off just expanding on your existing site. And the way you're looking at it is good. And, Lance is actually a member of a student of Five Figure Niche Site. And Lance is saying, okay, what about if you have a certain number of backlinks and comments and you're doing the promotional stuff? So those triggers are good, but it's a trigger to add more content. So for example, you would publish 10 pieces of content initially, you go out, you do blog commenting for about a month. You continue to work on maybe getting guest posts until you get about 15 of those, most of which are pointing to, just a few posts, like 1 or 2 posts, and then maybe some others to your homepage. And then you would add more content to your existing site versus starting the second site. The point is, usually you can make a great deal of money if you just focus on one site and don't try to start multiple sites. Okay. Further on here, we have Nikita, what's up? D-Card. And as far as like getting content, Abdullah. So there's a couple ways. You could write it yourself. You can write it yourself and then hire an editor. You can hire a writer from Upwork. You can hire a writer and editor from Upwork. You can go to a service where they have the writer, editor, and they upload it for you, and they do the formatting. So each step, right, is a little more expensive, but depending on what you're trying to do and what your budget is, you can figure out the right way to handle it. The thing is, right, all the issues that we have that we're talking about, they're just a problem to solve, right? Like other people are doing it. It's not impossible. It's just you haven't cracked the nut for the way you want to work yet. And it's your preference on how you want to work. Some people, they want to write. They love writing. They can write all day. Or they hate writing and they don't want to do it, or maybe English isn't your first language, so maybe you have to have someone write it and then get an editor. So but the point is, it's merely a problem to solve. Everyone has to figure out how it works for them. So it's not impossible. Just remember that. Jeff is on for the first time. What's up? And Success Roller Coaster, how do you view quality content? Can you rephrase that? I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, I think having as good a content as you can is good. Ravi says, about the niche pursuits project, you said it didn't work out for his and his students. As of 2014, it was very easy, but now it's too difficult. Again, Ravi, I would say, just to echo on the same point that I already made, like they're just problems to solve, right? It's not too hard. You just haven't done it yet, right? It's not impossible. There's many people that are making it work right now and finding great success. And I'm not saying you have to do a niche site, by the way. Like maybe your skills are elsewhere and you want to do something else, but it is harder now, right? But you just have to dig deeper, try a little harder, be a little smarter, and try and stay ahead of the curve. Mike's on, and I need to scroll down to the chat just to make sure everything's cool in here. Yeah. All right. The trolls are at bay, at least for now. Fingers crossed. We have our friends. Everyone give Lance and Arun a hand for helping out, keeping order. And actually, you could even say thanks if you're watching the replay later. You can say thanks to those guys for keeping it cool in the chat room. Okay. Lightman says, how many pieces of content, articles, pages did I have on that site? I think this is going way back. I think I maybe had about 40 posts or something like that. It wasn't huge. It was, well before I figured out the keyword golden ratio and stuff like that. Bynum, what's up? In the research paper method, I target a lot of keywords. Oh, do I target a lot of keywords for H2? And do I prefer the RPM for the keyword over the keyword golden ratio, which has worked better for you? Okay. In the keyword research paper method, I don't intentionally. So I have a more relaxed view. I mean, I have a technical background and I also am a project manager, and a lot of people may think that I put rigid standards on the writers and have a, rigid sort of process. And I find flexibility is better. I've been rigid in many other instances, and flexibility feels better, and it seems to work okay. So number one, I don't intentionally target a lot of keywords for H2 tags or whatever in the research paper method. However, it just happens naturally. So if you write a good outline, it will happen naturally. So you don't even have to worry it. Do I prefer the research paper method or RPM over the keyword golden ratio? No, not necessarily. They each have their purpose, and they're unrelated, right? So it's like comparing apples to like, I don't know, like puppies. It's not even a fruit, right? So they're completely unrelated. One is about keyword research. The other one is about organizing and outlining content, which has worked better. They've both worked fantastically in the proper application. Next, We have hiking. Gear Lab, we have Paul on as well. Palomino says, what would I say to making an all-encompassing site for the first time with a variety of topics to experiment with which works best? If it's your first time around, I think that's a bad idea because most of the time people quit when they do that because it's too overwhelming and it's like building multiple sites at the same time. So my suggestion is to not do that. For people's reference, my thought is like you're probably thinking of something like the Wirecutter or the like what is it, Thoroughly Reviewed. By the way, I'm doing a few new teardowns in the coming weeks, so that those are ones like top of mind because on Tuesdays I'm going to be doing Tuesday teardowns. So every week you'll get a new installment of that kind of stuff. But anyway, for your first site, start small. Here's the other part. Either you're going to run out of time, you're going to run out of money if you have it to invest, because you're competing with huge sites. So keep that in mind. Like you're much better off like going for a small win. Don't try and hit a home run. Try and get on base, right? That's basically what I try and do each time. Sometimes things are going to work out really well, exceed your expectations. And Lane is on for the first time. Thanks for joining up. Really appreciate you coming on live. Tiger, what's up? Lane says, do I cover siloing? Not today, but I have talked about siloing and I could quickly tell you, I don't think you should really spend too much time siloing. My belief is if you just interlink your site well, you're in good shape. If you search on my channel for like interlinking or internal links or something like that, Lane, I talk about it and why my logic is that way. So the big downside with siloing is you have to architect the site in like an intentional and smart way. And you have to plan ahead or adjust. And all that is kind of a pain in the butt. But when you step back and you look at what a silo looks like on a website, it's just like intentional interlinking. So if you take out the architecture part and just put in the intentional interlinking, I think you get benefits from that. Mike says you finally bit the bullet and create another site. You're trying to get out the procrastination phase and write more articles. You have 2 articles targeting the KGR, but they're only 600 words each. That's great. Yeah, you could go back and add more to them later. I mean, that's the other part. Just, write 200 words a day for the next few days. You got yourself a 2,000 word article, right? You don't have to do it all in one day. Tiger says, what do I think about data feeder for building affiliate stores? I'm not sure what that is exactly, but I have a feeling that I think it's a waste of time. I don't think that will be helpful. Paul says, having many websites is tiring. Indeed. Yeah. And really, like, we don't want to be sitting at our computer all day long. Like, we like build these sites so we have more free time. So you can go, walk outside or play video games or, go to the gym, take a nap, whatever. There's still a lot of snow here in Montana. Like quite a lot of snow. I'm looking forward to summertime when I could go out and hike. So that'll be nice when it comes around. Akib, I think I pronounced your name correctly, but if not, I apologize. Can a niche site outrank a piece of content published by an authority site? Sure. Yeah, there's no reason why it can't. And the one issue, I'm not going to dig into much right now, but like the one issue I have with your question is you're using niche site and authority site, but if we don't have clear questions where the definition is clear to everyone, then it's hard to answer. But sure, like you definitely can. Right. And awesome. Yeah. By the way, for people that are watching the replay, there's a great support for our moderators, our good moderators, Arun and Lance. Again, thank you guys. Please give them a shout in the comments. They're keeping order, allowing me to concentrate on this on the chat. All right. All right. Hiking Gear Lab says, which keyword research tool do you recommend for long tail keyword research? So I recommend you take a look at in Hiking Gear Lab. I know you've asked a couple questions around stuff like this before. So this question may not, or this answer may not be super helpful, but use the keyword research method of the keyword golden ratio. So use the keyword golden ratio. As far as tools, the tools don't matter, right? The tools literally don't matter. As long as it gives you a value for the search volume, you're good to go. That said, I am going to be doing some analysis and some reviews on keyword research tools because it's been a while since I've actually, gone out, purchased the products and made like, you know, an effort to use the product. So I'll probably put out like a playlist for each specific tool, like what I don't like, do some demos and stuff like that. I'll probably make those like affiliate content. I typically don't do a lot of affiliate content for tools and stuff, but the fact is people ask about it so much that I need to look at it. And um, one thing, we should all remember is if you're doing something in the form of like a business, which, this is a business for me, right? Like I make money doing Amazon affiliate marketing and like I enjoy these videos, but the fact is there should be an ROI, right? Like the ROI needs to be a clear path, right? Like why would I shoot videos if it's not helpful? So if I can refer you to products that can be helpful and I can get a commission, I'm going to do that. So you don't have to use the affiliate link, and a lot of people, they won't. But I hope if you find it helpful, you will. Anyway, the point is, I lost my spot. Hiking Gear Lab, whatever tool you have is just fine. Okay, and then Steven says there has been a tool out there called I Love Page One. I think it's only for Windows machines, and it seems like there's a high number of like, I guess, people that work online that use Macs. So most people don't mess with it. I've heard it's a little buggy. These days, I hear my friends over at Human Proof Designs are like doing a service with the keyword golden ratio. So it remains to be seen how that will impact things if they're just, throwing, if they're just selling keywords out there. But I mean, even if you can get them, you still have to get the content published. So, okay, Barry's on, what's up? And the link for January favorite says that it's not available. So double check now, would you, Jeff? Appreciate the note on that. I scheduled it to go live at 10:30, assuming people wouldn't check it out, but I appreciate it, Jeff, that you did. So let me know if it's available now. Okay. Success roller coaster. You do the income school method, 1,500 words a day, and you're on 12 articles now. Are you getting any traffic yet? Steven says, what do I recommend? The minimum number of articles or words for a site, like 60,000. No, I don't recommend anything like that. I think if you just have 10 articles out there, you're good to go to get started. And Lane says you want to do my program, but you can't wait until April. And unfortunately, I do only open it up like a few times a year just because of the amount of time that I spend with the students. So I would say, I mean, you know what? The income school guys are great. Because they don't do any link building, per my understanding, and well, they have a video that says link building is a waste of time or something like that. So I know they're not that rigid and they do some link building, but I would say like they have a big gap in their course if there's no like link building component. Paul says, do I have the Amazon affiliate mentioned in the footer of every page? Yes. And on a terms and condition page as well. Let's see. And then Mr. Uji says, "You hope you don't mind that you're asking about Tamara's. I think you mean Samara's website, and I'm not 100% sure. She was actually working with Spencer Hawes, and then I started talking to her at the tail end of last year. So I actually like have a lot of videos with Samara, but I'm waiting to release them in a series. So it'll be like a lot of stuff going on. All right. And Jeff says it still doesn't work. Let me just double check what's going on with this video for you. Sometimes it takes a while to process. So maybe that's it. Sorry about the issue on that. Let me just let me check the link too and check out my 2018 favorites. What's up? Hey, you know what, Jeff? It looks like it's playing for me now. So I'm not sure what the deal is, but yeah, I'm sorry about the issue on that. Okay. As we're scrolling down, Lane says you used the keyword golden ratio and it worked for you to rank on page 1 for 2 keywords. That's awesome. Really cool. John says, what's the topic we can ask questions about? So this is just sort of general. So leeway, you can ask, about niche sites in Amazon affiliate marketing. This topic today was like my first site that did well. Barry says, you're trying to target buyers' keywords, but gadgets are super competitive. How can you best overcome it? I'm not sure. Either you can, well, here's the thing. It's a tech blog. It's going to be competitive. New products are coming out all the time. So I don't know. I don't have a tech blog. I try to avoid the tech type, product. Like, I don't know, cameras and computers and anything where there's like new ones coming out all the time. Like you're going to have to make updates all the time. So I kind of avoid that because that's not what I want to do as far as overcoming competitive stuff. So either, my ideas would be try and find things that are just coming out so the competition is lower, or to go just find like really niche, very small keywords. Additionally, like if I recall, Barry, you have a decent amount of traffic. So my recommendation would be, build an email list and do other marketing. Jeff says, you're just getting started. Awesome. That's an exciting time. Can I share one of my Amazon affiliate niche sites? The answer is no, I don't do that. If you're interested in that, I know the Income School guys share some of their sites. The thing is, like anytime that I've seen someone share revenue and then they share their site, bad things happen, right? Their sites get hit with negative SEO. Jeff, you're saying you're just getting started. Basically, because people are like a public figure or they have an audience, there are bad people in the audience, right? So, like, hate to say it that way, but like, let's say, I think I heard Tim Ferriss talk about it on his podcast a couple times, but he's like, all right, in a big city, you have, say, 100,000 people, like chances are there's going to be like 1% of them or so that are like sort of mentally unstable and not cool, right? Not nice. And when you have a bigger audience distributed across the world and hundreds of people, watch the videos, chances are a couple of them are not nice and they're going to screw up your site. So I don't share my sites because I don't want to take the risk. But other people do share their sites and typically they get hit with some sort of negative SEO. The Income School guys, apparently they haven't been hit yet, so they're not too afraid of it. However, I wonder if they have had some issues and, just hasn't like gotten their site penalized yet. So anyway, Jeff, the real thing you need to do on my channel, I have like multiple playlists of teardowns. And just take a look at my playlist, look at some of the example sites, and you'll see that I look at the sites. I think there's like over 20 of them or so right now. And I'm going to be releasing more that are sort of higher quality and a little tighter than those other ones. But Jeff, check out the playlists. They're out there. As we keep scrolling down. Okay. And then Hiking Gear Lab says, why you ask for the recommendation, the keyword volume differs from tool to tool for the same keyword. Okay, so here's the deal with keywords and search tools. They're all estimates, right? So everything is an estimate. Even if you get your data from like the Google Keyword Planner, if you have an AdWords account, they're estimates. So these companies don't, they're unable to like get the actual data from Google. So they're using their own proprietary algorithm to figure out the search volumes. And that's why they're all different. It turns out it doesn't matter. Just pick one and use that one. It gives you the exact number, doesn't matter. Okay. So the exact number doesn't matter because it's an estimate, but you get a relative sense, like one keyword in a niche versus another keyword in a niche. You have, I mean, they use the same algorithm across the board. So you know that this one gets more searches than the other. So don't worry about the actual number there. Okay. And then Lance is mentioning to Jeff that just start looking out there. You'll start finding these niche sites all the time. And Arun says a couple of your posts that were published in 2016 weren't indexed until you fetched them. Interesting. I wonder why too. That's kind of strange. Pratik says, been some time, 11 p.m. in India. Yeah, yeah. That is late. Thanks for joining up. Pratik says, can I give an example? So again, go check out the playlists that are out there. Lance says there are plenty of keyword golden ratio terms in tech niches. So in theory, shouldn't we be able to get traffic? Or is it the fact that bigger local monthly searches are so competitive that it's a bad idea? So technically, Lance, yeah, you can find the KGR terms in any niche. Any niche. So it does, I mean, yeah, you should be able to get traffic. However, like the bigger part is because there are so many new things being developed and new products and new models coming out, like I don't want to like keep publishing like information on that. But I was actually talking to my wife the other day and I was like, it could be interesting to do like a beer brewing blog where I can geek out on that stuff. So when I go to a brewery, for example, and take pictures, it's not just to keep on my phone and never look at, like there'd actually be a purpose. And it turns out, even though the town I live in, there's only like 43, 40, or maybe 45,000 people. There's a lot of breweries. I think there's like 8 or 9. And I'm sort of like lightly like into the brewing scene. So I would be able to, talk to people and like have a beer with a brewer or the owner or whatever and hang out with them. So anyway, the point is I could take any question and turn it into something about me drinking beer. So that is the number one thing to remember. Cautionary tale for anyone wanting to ask a question. And then the other part is, Lance, I'm not sure about the tech stuff. I mean, it's a good question and just not my thing. Okay. Mike says, one of your KGR keyword golden ratio articles has 600 words. It brings back only 2 results, which are Q&A, but has 170 searches per month. Would I outrank them? Okay, so only 2 results in the all-in title without quotes. Would I outrank them or need 1 to 2,000 word article? I don't know. Have you already done it? And the real answer is, for any question that's sort of like this, like Mike, you obviously know the concepts, you understand what's going on. Like just do it. Just try it. There's like every keyword, every niche, every keyword, every subset of like variations, it's different. So I have no idea. And anyone that tells you that they know the answer to that is a little cocky, and they don't, I mean, if they think they could tell you definitively, they're just wrong, right? They just are, they think they know more than what's possible. The fact is, right, 600 words to 1,000 or 2,000 words, like just write more, or pay a couple bucks and get the extra words. Like just go for it, you know? It's arbitrary, and it doesn't matter. The only way to know is to test, Mike. All right, as we're scrolling down, and we're going to keep it tight today. We're going to end this thing in 10 minutes, so we'll just have an hour in, unless, well, we'll see how I feel. But I got some other stuff going on today, so I may need to get out. Success Roller Coaster says, but do you do website reviews, for example, if I send you a website to show? I don't know. Can you rephrase? Like, are you asking if I like audit people's websites? Success Roller Coaster. John is on. What's up? Thanks for joining in. FGH. What's my opinion on finding small niches with low competition that won't necessarily have affiliate potential, but are searched for often, like specific language learning tips? Okay, so basically the question is really like, what if you could build a site that could get traffic even though there's no affiliate potential? So a lot of times there is, like, there's some monetization method in there. Now, I mentioned earlier, right, the site that I had was getting a couple hundred visitors a day, but I didn't really have a clear monetization method. Nowadays, I probably could figure something out, right? Like if you have traffic, you could usually figure out how to make some money. For that one, foreign language learning tips, there are so many affiliate programs out there for like language learning stuff. Like you should be able to figure out how to make money from it. However, I know your example is just an example. So the point is, you should have like before you start the site, you should have a clear idea on what you need to do for like revenue, right? So if that makes sense. Okay. Hi says thanks for all I do. You're welcome. By the way, I haven't asked in a while, but if you are finding this helpful and or interesting, then please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. It helps other people find the video. If you're watching the replay, give me a shout to let me know what's going on there. And it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. And I just discovered something. That link, Jeff, for whatever reason, I scheduled it wrong. So I scheduled it for tomorrow, which is like the normal default. But I encourage everyone to check out a new sort of video style and format. It's sort of vloggy. It's a little rambly. It's January favorites. So I have posted it. Now it's live. And I talk about stuff that I'm into. So if you're interested in seeing more today, like if we end this in a few minutes and you're watching in the chat, I just pasted the link. Okay. I'm going to try and blast through the answers here. So hi says, you have a question on taxes. Do I do 1099 on all my earnings? Yeah. So generally, like either like whatever company I'm making the money from, they're reporting it via 1099, or if it's, you know, my own revenue for like my course or whatever. Yeah, I pay like you pay a lot of taxes, right? So remember that when you're making money, if you're making money, you need to save like a third of it to pay your taxes, local and state or whatever. And don't try to avoid taxes. Don't try and be cute. Okay. FGH, is it worth writing articles and then monetizing with AdSense? If that's your monetization method, go for it. Not my thing. I think some people do great with AdSense, but I don't know. Wyoming says, why can't Google AdWords get the exact data since it's owned by Google? Well, they can get the exact data, but you have to have ads running or at least like have an account and have an ad that's paused. So yeah, they of course have the data, but they're removing the amount of information you get unless you pay them money and run ads. John says the replays are great. So awesome. And just a reminder, folks, like if it was helpful, if you liked this kind of information, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, I mean, I have a feeling a lot of people are subscribed, but I have no idea. But if you're not subscribed, it'd be awesome uh, if you subscribed. Da, 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 da. Okay, and Francis says, you would never expose your niches sooner or later. That may bite the publisher back. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like some people, actually, I'm pretty firm with it. Like I said, I've had too many friends that had their sites, like just people are, it only takes one person to screw something up. So Jeff says, beer drinking niche site recommendation, add a couple affiliate links for weight loss programs. Nice. And Wyoming, do I support or have I ever made a niche site in a niche that I don't know about or don't like? Yeah, I have. It's usually more interesting to have a site where you kind of know something about it or you're at least intellectually like interested in it. Barry says, how much does it cost to get decent articles? And Lance is right. I usually pay $15 for about 1,000 words. Success Roller Coaster says, okay, so this is a follow-up. Do I do live website reviews from viewers? The answer is no. So a couple things is, it's to the point that I mentioned before, you may not realize um, how exposed you're making yourself and how vulnerable you are by like just telling everyone your niche site. It's a really bad move. And if other people do it and you see other folks doing, I know like Alex at WP Eagle, he did like like a public site, and then Alex reviewed some of his viewer sites on there. And honestly, I mean, I haven't talked to him about it specifically, but I don't think he realized that he was exposing them because someone, especially if they're not really putting out much content, if they're not building any backlinks, like it is 100% replicatable. So someone could literally just copy it and do a little bit more work. A $500 per month site goes away overnight. So you don't want me to review your site live. The other part is, yeah, I do website audits and stuff, but it's like a paid consultation. So I'm I'm busy, right? Like I don't have time. I get probably several requests per week. And I don't have time to spend an hour to look over someone's site. I just don't do it. So I do private consultations. I'm happy to, have a look. I turn away more people than I accept because I'm only going to work with you if I think I can help you. So if you really just need to spend a little more time adding more content and doing a couple things, I'll just tell you that. I'll say, go watch these 2 videos, add more content, come back to me in 6 months if you think you still need help. But basically, I don't want to do something that is not very stimulating for me, right? So if I'm just giving the same advice over and over again, even if I get paid for it, it's not, I mean, I can choose what I want to work on. So Success Roller Coaster, you don't want me to review your site. And if you like live on air to expose it to other people, but if you do want me to check it out, I do one-on-one consulting. It's $247 an hour, and you get an action plan that you'll execute after we finish up the call. So you'll be able to go and take action on the stuff that we discussed. Okay. Francis says, if Amazon is in the top 10 at Google multiple times, how bad has it been for conversions whenever you get the chance? I don't know. If you're ranked above above Amazon for the results, then it's fine. Yeah, Pratik asked, is there any video for review structure? Yeah, so Google or look up the perfect Amazon review and my name or niche site project. And I recommend you do this on YouTube. There's a whole, you know, um, workshop, basically a webinar where I go through it. Peter says, changing the title or republishing under a different heading, will Google penalize you? No, they won't penalize you. It's worthwhile to, test names or write better headlines. Wyoming says, do I make a lot of income from YouTube? Is it worth it? I make zero income from YouTube. You may notice I don't, like, if you check out my videos, I don't get many views. I think technically I could make about $40 a month. So it's really for community building. I'm spending time here with about 50 people. I'm answering your questions. Hopefully you like me, right? I want you to like me. That's the main reason I'm doing this. So people get to know me and you see that I'm adding value and I know what I'm talking about, because it's not easy to answer random questions from people over and over again. And if you check out some of the other people's channels that are talking about Amazon affiliate sites doing live streams, they don't know what they're talking about. A lot of them don't know what they're talking about. All right, Mike says, you found Fiverr articles pretty good and a decent value. It's just a matter of editing and proofreading. I haven't found that personally, but if you say so, stick with it. These chat windows are very hard to follow. Sorry about that. So anyway, yeah, I make not much from YouTube. I think you have to have like a lot of views. So I don't run ads. I'd rather you just be able to get to the content. By the way, like, let me know, like in the chat and in the comments too, like, do you notice and appreciate that I don't run ads on my channel? Or, do a lot of people have YouTube Red? I don't know, but I feel like I don't like it when ads pop up. So do you like it that I'm not running ads? Do you watch more of my videos because of that? Okay. All right. I'm going to try and get through all the questions, even though we're over the top of the hour. Francis says, I'm not sure what you're asking. Sweet spot, top 10 at Google under blah, blah. I don't know what you're asking. Sorry. It's a continuation, but basically, if you do the keyword golden ratio, you're probably in good shape. John says, what's my usual profit / overhead cost for websites? It depends. It depends. I think the margins are super high. So it's all up to you, right? The margins could be like 90 to 95%. Or if you want to spend more on like adding more content and growing the site, you could invest, as much as you want back in there. And it's totally up to you. There's no right answer. It just depends on what you want to do. I would say if you're reinvesting like 20% or something like that, that's probably like that's pretty good. What's my recommendation on book reviews for Amazon affiliate? I don't think that's a viable strategy because books are too cheap. Preetam says content silos. Okay. And that sort of is going to mark the end of this because that's a repeat question from today already. Basically, don't worry about silos, Preetam. Just look at my channel for interlinking. Silos are not super useful. And this is what happens with the live streams. If you stay on too long, I appreciate everyone hopping on here, but what happens is people pop on, they didn't watch the other part, which I totally understand. And then unfortunately the same questions get asked. So not only is it not helpful for the viewer, but it is super boring for me. And Lane, thanks for thanks for answering the question. But you guys are taking care of yourself. That's awesome. Thank you, Lane. That's really cool. Lance, what's the percent of affiliate money that comes from products I recommend on the site and other stuff they buy from Amazon? I'm not sure. I don't remember. And Francis is mentioning the consultation statement. Thank you. It's hard. Like I'm not. Yeah, it's just there's only so many hours in a day, and I can only give so much. Charles asked when I'm reopening 5-figure niche site. April. People are saying you like no ads, and you don't have YouTube Red in the UK. Okay. And Melanie says, I never noticed that I don't run ads on my channel. You have ad blocker on Chrome, so it's secure for ads. If it's good content, you don't mind the ads, is what Lane says, because you like supporting people. Okay, cool. And and Arun says, you think I should run ads? Why is that? Just curious, because again, like for me, if I made another $40 per month, I don't think it's worth it, versus like just giving people, the information. And Mike would watch even with ads. Thank you. And David says, I hope says I'm funny. And yeah, the next course starts up in April. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Vi Tutas says, should I create links to my website or direct post? Both. Um, all right, I think we made it. I think that is all the questions. We did it. Thanks everyone for watching. And so one in Wyoming says you were introduced to affiliate marketing and niche sites by YouTube ads, so they're not always bad. Good to know. And you know what? The thing is, I wouldn't be opposed to running ads, but I'm just like, like my channel's so small and there's so few views right now, right? I'm hoping it'll accelerate. But at this point in time, running the ads is just not worth it to me. Awesome. We'll catch you later. By the way, on Fridays, I do a Q&A, same time, same place, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and I will schedule it so you can put a reminder up if you check back on my channel. Don't forget, I just posted a video of the January favorites. It's kind of like a monthly journal entry on like stuff that I was doing in January. It's a long, rambling mess. Hopefully, I will tighten that up in future months. We'll see how it goes. All right, I'm out of here, everyone. See you next time.